This is the Pimax Crystal Light, a huge VR headset and quite a flagship for modern high-end VR gaming. With a price of up to $900, you do spend a good chunk of your well-earned money that lies in your wallet on this large headset. We'll be reviewing the Pimax Crystal Light, the differences between it and other headsets, and if it's worth the price. I particularly play VRChat mostly, so we're only gonna test this out in VRChat. Anyways, let's go! The Pimax Crystal Light is quite a huge headset, and like I mentioned before, can cost you up to $900 depending on what set you're getting, since you can order the Crystal Light with and or without controllers and with different settings too. Pimax themselves sent me this headset to make a review on it, but I'm still gonna push out my own unbiased opinion here. Seeing this headset is quite an interesting sight. In the box here from Pimax, you'll get the headset itself, 2 controllers, a few cables such as a power adapter, USB cables, and a DisplayPort cable. This is like every other PC VR headset. It has everything in the box as well. The first time I actually held the Pimax Crystal Light was interesting. From weight, I'd probably compare this to the Valve Index, but a bit better balanced surprisingly compared to the Index, which is weird when you see that big, bulky front here. It feels very good to carry and good on your head. The cushions inside of the Crystal Light remind me of the old HTC Vive, which also had this type of foam for your face cushion as well, which I think is a-okay. At first I also thought when I looked at the main headset, where are the speakers? Well, the speakers are very compact. The audio is pretty good for the size of those, and I was first kind of shocked that these earphones are this small. I actually thought I had an extra pouch with speakers to put onto, but no, these are the speakers. My box also came with 2 Pimax controllers, which are not good. You don't really have a super tight grip on them like the Quest 3 controllers or the Valve Knuckles. It often feels as if the controllers kind of slip out of your hands, or maybe I just have smooth hands. I don't know. The tracking of the controllers themselves are also not really good. It really feels like the Pimax Crystal Light is more about the headset itself and less about the controllers, so I reckon the focus was more on all the headset stuff. So let's talk about comfort. I mentioned before that it's actually quite comfortable to wear this VR headset. It might look huge and it might seem to be heavy, but honestly it is pretty okay balanced. That even if you have it tight enough and shake your head violently, this thing sticks to your face in a good way. The balance of the Pimax Crystal Light is pretty okay. When setting up the top head strap and the head strap itself completely, it is really comfortable to wear. Your eyes are pretty close to the actual lenses, but you will notice black outlines at times if you, for example, load a game, load a VRChat world, or when it's super bright inside an application. I did had a problem when I first put on this headset. After around 5 to 10 minutes, it felt like my left eye lens looked washed and foggy. If the headset itself was too tight around my head or the face cushion was not being correctly aligned to my face, I'm not sure, but it did happen quite often when trying out this headset. The setup of the Pimax Crystal Light was interesting to say the least. You first have to install an external software, Pimax Play. I'm a sucker for plug and play, so I had a little trouble with this, but the installation went pretty smooth. I first had to set up my room settings, which was actually pretty cool. The Pimax Crystal Light has inside-out tracking, so you actually saw your room just like you set up your Quest 3 play space. You look at a few green boxes and there you go! The room is set up. The software itself gives you a lot of options for you to customize, which is pretty useful and interesting as well. Changing refresh rate, image quality, and a whole lot more. It seems pretty useful. The controllers again are quite annoying for usage. I did mention that before, but again, it was kind of slippery and weird to control, especially in VRChat. I wish controllers nowadays were less like the typical grip rings or like the Quest 3 controller type-ish, and really more like the Index Knuckles. Maybe I just got so used to wearing the Valve Index that I might have become a little biased here, but I'll try to stay away from that. Okay. Let's compare the Pimax Crystal Light with 2 other headsets I own, the Quest 3 and the Valve Index. The Pimax Crystal Light itself uses so-called aspheric lenses with an IPD range from 58 to 72 mm. It has pass-through via inside-out tracking cameras and uses 2 QLED displays with a resolution of 2880 by 2880 per eye. It can run 60 Hz, 72 Hz, 90 Hz, and 120 Hz. The weight goes at right about 850 grams and has a peak pixel pixel density of 35. The Quest 3 is a little different here. It uses pancake lenses with an IPD range from 58 to 71mm. It also uses pass-through similar to the Pimax Crystal Light and uses two LCD displays with a resolution of 2064 by 2208 per eye. The Quest 3 also weighs about 515 grams and runs at a fixed 120Hz refresh rate and has a peak pixel density of 25. And the Valve Index, a headset 6 years old and still widely used, uses Fresnel lenses with an IPD range from 58 to 70mm, no real pass-through, runs two LCD displays with a resolution of 1440 and 1600 per eye, and has a maximum refresh rate of 140Hz, but can be changed to 120Hz and 90Hz. Compared with the other two headsets here, the Valve Index weighs about 109 grams and has around a peak pixel density of 15. Also, let's not forget the microphone test here. This is the microphone of the Valve Index. This is the headset microphone of the Meta Quest 3. This is the microphone of the Pimax Crystal Light. Well, the microphone of the Crystal Light isn't really it. I honestly think the Pimax Crystal Light has pretty good statistics and specs here, and honestly I do see why a lot of people like it when it comes to that, but that microphone... But to actually see what it looks like through a Pimax Crystal Light, we should check out some VRChat worlds and do a few test games. The clarity and visuals of the Pimax Crystal Light are really impressive. The image and visuals are extremely clear compared to other headsets I own, and it really does impress me here. Colors really pop, and again, the clarity of the Pimax Crystal Light really brings that word crystal clear perfectly in here. I had a few moments where I actually kind of lost myself in this clarity of the Crystal Light, and at times I actually had to take off the headset and just say, wow. But I did have some trouble setting up the IPD here, as the IPD wheel was kind of hidden on the top left of the Pimax Crystal Light, which when I found it was easily fixed. Let's get to the audio. The audio of the Pimax Crystal Light is pretty okay. I actually did notice that the audio itself is quite loud, as it kind of echoed through my room even though I didn't notice it, but my girlfriend actually did. The audio speakers are locked in place though, so you cannot really move them like the Valve Index, which is kind of disappointing for a PCVR headset. Overall, they do sound okay. The audio comes through. Low frequencies like bass does sound fairly punchy. Honestly, let's summarize this headset up here. I think that this headset from Pimax, the Pimax Crystal Light, is probably something more for simulator enthusiasts and not really for the average VRChat user, or even for the average VR player in general. It seems to be a bit of a niched headset with great visual quality, okay comfort, but terrible controller tracking and microphone. But if you're able to sacrifice the good for the bad and love simulators, then this is probably something for you. For VRChat players, probably not, to be honest. Still, thank you very much for Pimax for letting me try out this headset and make a review on this. It was an interesting insight to a different headset than the Valve Index or the Quest 3, which I both use quite often, so a refresher was really needed, and I love to test out stuff like this. Thank you. Pimax has potential. They have shown that they can work on good headset at times. It's more so about being able to balance all the right things that consumers love and make it less niched. Overall, it is okay headset for VRChat and VR social platforms, but a pretty good headset for sim racing and simulators in general. If you like this review, don't forget to actually like this video as well and subscribe to this channel for more VR hardware reviews. Honestly, I will be doing another one for this year, so look out for the next review about the BSB2E. Insiders will know. And as always, take care in the virtual as well as in reality. Ciao, ciao!